Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this brief edition of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast on the channel. It is time to go through predictions for today's Darlington Throwback race, the Goodyear 400. I am excited for this one. Excited to see all those paint schemes, those beautiful paint schemes out on the racetrack for the Throwback race weekend. We've already seen the truck and Xfinity races this weekend. I did not see most of the Xfinity race yesterday due to having to work, but I did see that Justin Allgaier was able to get the win, and his nice Dale Earnhardt Throwback scheme with the Tasmanian Devil paint scheme, at least, that he ran back very briefly in the 90s. I think he only ran it for a couple races, so that was pretty cool. And then we also got to see the truck race on Friday night, which, again, I missed most of it. I had to work the next day and everything. So regardless of the fact, though, congratulations to both winners so far this weekend. But now it's time to crown the Cup Series winner for this week. Oni Lassiter, Joey Logano fan, welcome to the stream, and welcome everybody else just tuning in. If you're new, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We've got some picks for today. Fantasy teams lock up at 3:35 Eastern Standard Time as the drop of the green flag is set for 3:40 for today's race. The race is also on Fox Sports 1 for those of you that wanted to watch it. We are not going to do a live stream commentary of the race this week. We are saving that for another time again. We did it last week, but this week I'm going to my grandparents' house to watch the race here for Mother's Day. So, welcome everybody on in. Cap24, welcome as well. Just made a meme review, and all the Cup race left. Gonna have to wait to do that. Yeah. Wait for it to finish. BMNJ, welcome to the stream as well. Welcome everybody. XXGXX, welcome to the stream. Dale Earnhardt TR. We'll win Darlington, all right. Oni Lassiter, you got Kyle Busch for today. What about me? Well, yep, we're going to lead into the fantasy talk about today's race. If you guys have any suggestions in the chat at the end of everything, or maybe in the process, I'll go through the don't-haves, the must-haves, and the sleeper picks that we always usually do. And if you guys have any advice or anything, you guys can throw yours in there, and I'll critique it, I guess, for about the next 25 minutes to a half hour before the start. Again, I'll have to give myself 15-20 minutes to drive to my grandparents' house here still. So a very brief edition. We were supposed to start this a little bit ago, but because of NASCAR Heat 5 not saving my game, we had to postpone the start of that stream for about an hour. So that put us a little bit behind the 8 ball. I was hoping to get this out by 2 so we can have the full hour. But regardless of the fact, that's enough rambling on. We're going to get into what you guys came for. Fantasy talk here about NASCAR. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy Live League. It is under KRC League. You can search. You can find that on either the NASCAR mobile app or website. Sign up with your email. If you win the season championship, you will win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing in 2022, and I will try to get out there myself as well. So I guess it'd be 3 tickets total, but whether it's you and a friend or you and a parent, if you're under the age of 18, it has to be adult supervision as well. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. That also goes for the regular season champ and the playoff champ, by the way. So if you have a chance to win twice, or you have a chance if you haven't joined the league and you don't have any sort of points in the league so far, it resets when we get to the playoffs anyway. So, all right. Without further ado, here we go. Long-awaited predictions all week long. I felt pretty confident about my fantasy team this week. I've been doing pretty good in recent weeks. Outside of Talladega. Talladega's will put me way behind the 8 ball as of right now. P-Shat Motorsports currently leads the league series, or standings, I should say, as of right now, out of the 11 teams we have in it currently. So, again, be more than welcome to join on in for your chance to win there. So, starting off first, we're going to go with the don't have pick. So, here are some drivers I do not want to see in your guys' fantasy lineups for today's race. Nor drivers do I have in my lineup. And we're going to start off with Ryan Blaney. I know he's my favorite driver, but this is one of his worst racetracks statistically. Darlington, Richmond are his 2 worst racetracks on the schedule, although Darlington is far worse. Richmond is far worse than Darlington. He has not had great runs here. Of course, he had to start at the rear last season in the Southern 500, so that didn't really help. Plus, it was a different package. Obviously, the 550 package, we know how much dirty air plays a factor. There's still a dirty air and a track position factor anytime you go to any racetrack, but it'll be less of that today with the 750 horsepower package. Cars are going to be sliding around a little bit more, especially in the hot daytime sun. It should be a very fun race to watch. But as far as Ryan Blaney goes, he has no top 10s in his 8 career Darlington starts of the Cup Series. He has not led any lap laps in any of those races either. His best finish is 13th twice, once in 2016 and once back in 2018 as well. So Ryan Blaney's not finished better than 13th, 8 career starts. He is a no-go in my lineup. You guys should not play him as well here today. And this is coming from a Ryan Blaney fan. Again, I am unbiased with my predictions every week. I want him to win. I wish him the best of luck, and I hope he proves me wrong this week because I'm a huge Ryan Blaney fan, but I just don't see it happening. He did prove me wrong a little bit, though, when I said that he would finish outside the top 10 at Richmond. He did. He finished 11th, but I didn't even think he'd run that competitive. So just knowing how fast that team's been on, it doesn't matter whether it's the 550 or the 750 tracks this season, I expect him to maybe run well here today, but compared to his Penske teammates, I think if you were to look at Penske, Keselowski's probably the guy to go if you had to play a Penske guy on the team this week. He's won in recent years in the Southern 500 back in, 2018? Yeah, 2018 he won the Southern 500, and that was the last race that we had the 750 package as well. But, Ryan Blaney, no-go. I don't think you guys should play him here today. The next driver, and I'm probably going to get some shade thrown at me for this, but he is the second and only other driver I could really find definitive stats that back this up for the don't-haves. It's one of Ryan Blaney's best friends, Chase Elliott. I'm swinging for the fences on this one, maybe a little bit. But Chase Elliott is a don't-have. He will not be in my lineup, and I don't think he should be in your guys' lineup as well. Now, Hendrick Motorsports has had speed this season. Chase Elliott's the only driver without a win so far this year, and I'd say on a consistent basis, he has been the third or fourth best Hendrick driver. As far as the points say he's second. As far as Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron's definitely the best Hendrick Motorsports driver right now. Again, I mentioned back on the the post-race analysis from last week that if the Championship 4 was this weekend, that Byron would be that best Hendrick driver and would have the best shot to making the Championship 4. He's got 9 straight top 10s. So be it. Alex Bowman, yes, he has a win, but he's been very inconsistent with his team this year. And Chase Elliott's been inconsistent too. Chase Elliott, in his Darlington career stats, only has 3 top 10s in 8 races. That does not scream start me on my lineup this week. It just doesn't. And I know he ran fast there in 2 of the 3 races last season. He didn't run there well in the first race, but by the second race, he was in position to win, then he got turned. So he definitely had a chance there, and that was a shorter race than what we're racing here today, and it was at the night in the nighttime. Also, another night race was the Southern 500 yesterday as well. So the Southern 500... last year. The Southern 500 last year, he had a chance to win there. He led a decent amount of laps, primarily in the final stage when he had that track position game with the pit strategy. It looked to be a good strategy, and then Truex kind of put him in the wall late. It looked like Elliott, even if he wasn't going to win because he didn't have the fastest car that day, he was going to have a good finish. But fact of the matter is, even though it was not the fault of his own, he didn't get the finishes. And prior to that, in his career at Darlington, he hasn't gotten the finishes really either. He's just not done enough for me to say that he is going to absolutely have a great day today. And again, that team's shown some inconsistencies this year. They're starting to ride a little bit of a hot streak. They will be going to the better racetracks after this week. Kansas was one of the better racetracks last week too, and he ran fairly well for the most part during that race, had a good finish. But I think looking ahead to COTA next week, that's when we're going to start to see Chase Elliott finally, in my opinion, start to progress this year and probably get some wins, or at least a win. But wait one more week. I just don't think he is going to have a good day today. So my predictions for Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott, because they're the only 2 on my don't-haves list for this week, I don't think either one of those... Well, I'm going to say Blaney's not going to get a top 10, and I'm going to say that Chase Elliott, even if he gets a top 10, will be the worst finishing Hendrick driver today. I think that the other 3 guys have better stats at this racetrack in recent memory. And they have overall this season been just as fast, if not faster, than Chase Elliott. And Bowman's the only one that you could say just as fast and isn't completely faster than him. And Bowman last year at Darlington, he had 2 top 10s and he almost won the first race. He finished, fourth and sixth last year in both races. So I'm very high on Alex Bowman to have a great run here today. He led a lot of laps in that first race too, and that was the day race, the only day race they had at Darlington last year too. So I know it's a different package that might be able to progress well. I think you have to look high on the radar of the other Hendrick drivers, but stay away from Elliott. And again, save him for the road courses too. With all those road courses, the meat of the schedule for himself coming up, save those starts. You can only start him 10 times in a season anyway. Don't waste him at a track like Darlington where it's not one of his better racetracks. statistically. Now into the sleeper picks. We have 3 sleeper picks for this week. These are drivers that don't typically run up front on a week-to-week basis, or maybe not one of the powerhouse teams per se. Maybe not one of the more proven drivers in recent memory, but these are drivers that can definitely have a great run here today. And we're going to start off with Matt Dimetadetto. Dimetadetto's been on a hot streak as of late. He's got back-to-back top 5s coming into this race, and he's got 3 top 10s in the last 5 races as well. So Benedetto's climbing up. He's actually in the top 16 in the point standings now. So just going off of the weeks leading up to this one, he's run fairly well. And his Darlington stats in recent years as well, very, very good. In the 4 starts he has had since moving to Levine Family Racing in 2019, Matt Benedetto has finished 8th, 9th, and 14th in 3 of those races. So 2 top 10s in that 14th place run. He actually led some laps in one of those races last year as well. So in that second race. Granted, a lot of those were at the beginning because of the inverted start, but still, he led laps, and he was able to still finish, 14th. Not great. You don't want a 14th place finish guy on your fantasy team, but considering he finished 8th and 9th the 2 races before that, he has run well at Darlington. The only thing that concerns me is that was a completely different package. Again, that was with the 550 package. We don't really know what Matt Benedetto can do with the 750 package on those tracks, but we know what he can do on short tracks and road courses with the same package. He runs very, very well, so I would kind of factor that in, that maybe he can even run better with this package than what he would have with the 550 package, and he had success with the 550 package at this racetrack. So, I do think Matt Benedetto is a very good sleeper pick. As far as my fantasy team goes, I'm really debating on putting him as my garage driver and debating on him and another one of these another one of these sleeper picks I'm about to drop on you guys here. But yeah, Matt Benedetto, very high on Benedetto. I think Matt DD will get a top 10 today. And make it 3 straight top 10s and make it 4 in the last 6 races. That would be very impressive for that Wood Brothers team, considering how bad of a start they had this season. They have really turned things around. They've turned it around quick. We still have just about half the regular season to go yet, and they're starting to click right here. I know he's been close to getting a win the last couple weeks, too. Don't be surprised if Matt Benedetto can get a win on a road course or something coming up here pretty soon, because those are his strong suits. Maybe today he contends. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. He's got a good starting spot as well. He starts 8th because of how well he ran last week and fastest laps and everything that goes into the random draw. So he's got a good starting position. He might actually have a shot to just run top 10 all day and score a lot of stage points too. So Matt Benedetto is a very good pick for your fantasy team. He's a very good sleeper pick. And probably somebody you won't start a lot this year, so why not go for him? Another sleeper pick is going to be Austin Dillon. I've been very high on Austin Dillon's radar most of the season. He has performed very well for Richard Childress Racing. Another driver who is starting inside the top 10 today, so he's got great track position, and he's ran well at Darlington in the past too. His Darlington stats in recent memory goes like this. Of course, we know he finished runner-up, 2nd place last year in the Southern 500. I know it's a different time of day, and it's a night race versus a day race, so it's kind of hard to factor that completely different package as well. But all those things aside, even before that, with the 750 package, he's had great runs at Darlington. He's got 4 top 11 finishes in the last 6 Darlington races, with 6 top 12 finishes in his 9 career Darlington starts. So to say that Darlington is one of Austin Dillon's best tracks is definitely a true statement. Again, 6 top dozen finishes in 9 career starts at Darlington. And you really can't say that about a lot of tracks for Austin Dillon in his career, but that's just kind of Austin Dillon's career up to this point, just kind of flying under the radar. Yeah, he doesn't win a lot, but he is more consistent in equipment that is probably B-tier equipment. It's definitely not one of those top-tier teams, and he's carrying the way of the season. He's just outside the top 10 in points. If it wasn't for Kyle Busch winning and having a great day last week, he'd be in the top 10. He's currently 11th. And in a season where it looks like he has to win to get into the playoffs, we don't know that 100% right now. Him having all those points is going to be huge if we do only get a couple guys to clinch on points at the end of the regular season. Austin Dillon could certainly be one of those drivers. Appreciate your faith, Geek. And yeah, hey, Matty D, I'm high on him, and I'm high on Austin Dillon today, too. I think Austin Dillon and Matty D will both get top 10s. Dillon has had back-to-back top 10s as well, so that would make it 3 in a row for him, as well as Matt Benedetto, if they both finish in the top 10 here. And I think they will. I think both of those 2 drivers are going to have great runs. And yes, Tyler Reddick has had better runs recently as well. You can definitely tell overall in the last couple races that Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick have both ran very well. And that team is getting quicker throughout the course of the season. It seems like they're getting more consistent. versus when it was just Dillon. I'm not completely sold on Reddick yet. He hasn't had a big enough sample size, especially in the Cup Series at Darlington. Austin Dillon does, and Austin Dillon's proven better. So Austin Dillon's the guy to go at RCR if you had to play one of those guys on your team today, and he's a very good sleeper pick. And he's the guy I'm debating on, him or Benedetto. Who do I start? Austin D or Austin Dillon. Again, Andrew, you welcome to the stream, by the way. Austin Dillon is higher up on my radar. He's a sleeper pick. He might be in my fantasy team today. Again, it's either him or Benedetto for that garage spot right now. It's really close. I mean, you could play either one of them and probably have similar success. Again, I think both of them are going to finish in the top 10. I think it's just a matter of who's going to get more stage points at that point. I think Reddick will win this year. That's very well possible. It's definitely possible. I just don't think it'll be today. I don't think he'll compete for a win today. Hey, he might still compete for a top 10. I'm not saying Reddick is not going to do good. It's just if you had to start one RCR guy over the other, I'd have more faith in Austin Dillon with the way that team's run this year, and his stats at Darlington are very good. So, yeah, those are two of them. We got one more sleeper pick. Kirk Bush is the other sleeper driver. Kirk Bush led 94 laps in the Southern 500 in 2019, so just 2 years ago. And also for his stats here at Darlington in recent years, he's got 6 top 10s in the last 8 Darlington starts. And the only two reasons why, I should say, races why he did not finish in the top 10, those other two, is because he crashed out while running in the top 10. Big crash back in 2018 took him out of it, like a 5 or 6 car pile up there in stage 3. That was nothing of his own doing. Wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing. He had a great day there. And then he also crashed out back in the 2015 race. So I'm really high on Kirk Busch. He has never won at Darlington. I'm not saying he's going to compete for a win today, but he has ran very well here in recent years. He's pretty much ran here well through most of his career. A lot of people remember him from finishing runner-up by a nose to Ricky Craven back in 2003, and that 400-mile race here at Darlington as well. So this is a 400-mile race at Darlington. It's a day race as well, just like that one. So, yeah, let's go. They're not racing at Kentucky this season, so Reddick wouldn't win there. Kyle Larson or Alex Bowman? Well, with Kirk Busch being the last of the sleeper picks, I guess we can move on to the must-haves. That's an easy choice. If you had to pick between those two drivers, it's going to be Kyle Larson. So we'll just start off with Larson and talk about his stats because he's one of my must-haves. For Kyle Larson, this is one of his best racetracks statistically. Bowman and that crew, although Hendrick has been fast this year, most of their speed has been on the 550 tracks. So I'm a little concerned about the 750 for right now, especially with Bowman. They seem to have a lot of mechanical failures, so I just think that 48 team in general is just not up to par with the at least the top 2 teams of Larson and Byron go. As far as speed goes, they have it, but they just, for whatever reason, just can't seem to make it to the end of the race, and it's not as well. So they have too many mechanical problems, so the easy say is Larson. And again, here's Larson's stats. 5 top 10s for Kyle Larson and 3 top 5s. He's only got 6 career Darlington starts. They raced there 3 times last year, but remember, Larson was suspended during that time, so he did not race. I don't think that's going to affect him too much because that was with the 550 package anyway. This package seems to suit him a little better, even though, again, Hendrick Motorsports has been better on the 550 package versus 750. Still have faith in Larson. Larson led 284 laps in 2018 in this race to a 3rd-place finish, and in 2017, despite finishing a career worst at Darlington, 14th, he led 124 laps. His average finish in those 6 career races is 6.6. That is one of the best average finishes of a decent sample size of at least 5 races or more at Darlington than anybody in the Cup Series. Very high on Kyle Larson for today's race. I think he'll run well. This is a little bit shorter of a race, 400 miles. The only thing that is concerning at all about Larson is what we've seen the last couple of weeks, where he gets desperate if he's in a position to win on late race restarts. But I have a stat that can back that up. We've only had a restart, or I should say we have not had a restart with less than 15 laps to go in a Darlington race of any length, any of the 3 last year or the Southern 500s. Not had a restart with less than 15 laps to go since 2015. That was 7 races ago. So I am very well going to say that we are likely not going to see a late race restart today, even though we've seen a lot of them in recent races. I don't think we're going to have a late race restart based off the trends, as Larry Mack would say, Larry McReynolds would say, based off the trends, I don't think we're going to have a super late caution. That'll help Kyle Larson. He seems to always be good on the long runs where repetition matters. I think that's the dirt car racing prowess where you don't get a lot of cautions. You have to run a 40-lap sprint. This is very similar to that, and we could have a restart very similar to that. This driving style works well on this worn-out surface. He's going to be riding that top side. Might earn a couple Darlington stripes throughout the course of the day just by running up there, but mostly everybody will anyway. So Bowman or Kurt, I would say Kirk Bush. They're both struggling this year. If you had to pick one of the two between Bowman or Kurt, Kurt's had a bigger sample size than Bowman. Bowman's had great success at this track last year, but that was with the 550 package. And again, Hendrick's not quite as good with the 750. They're both questionable decisions, but I'm higher up on Kurt Busch today. I think Kurt Busch breaks into the top 10 today. Bowman, I'm not 100% certain on. But I do think he can have a good run for sure. Yeah, I was at 2018 Southern 500 Brad K1. Yep. Yeah, I was there last year in 2020. I had a blast. Highly recommend going to Darlington if you ever get a chance to. It's a great racetrack. A lot of fun. A lot of great racing, too. So on to the last two must-haves. We just got Kyle Larson out of the way. He's definitely high on my radar. And I think Kyle Larson is going to have an easy top 10 finish in today's race and likely compete for the win once again. Here's a guy who has been great pretty much his whole career, again, at Darlington. Unlike Kyle Larson, though, he's got more than twice as many starts. Denny Hamlin is on my must-have list. If you have Hamlin on your fantasy team, especially if you haven't used him a whole lot, even if you have used him a lot this year, I've used him 6 times already. I'm using him again today. This is one of his best racetracks. He's got 3 career wins at Darlington. 2 of which coming within the last 7 races there, including 1 win last season back in 2020. His average finish through his entire career, 17 career races at Darlington. So that's a huge sample size. That's tough to get an average. When you race that many races at a track, I don't care how good or bad you are at the track, if you have an average finish in the single digits, that's super solid. And Denny Hamlin is very easily in the single digits. A 7.5 average finish at Darlington in 17 career races. He's only finished outside the top 10 4 times in his Darlington racing career in the Cup Series. He seems to run there well in the Xfinity Series as well. He seems to run a Darlington race there. I think he's running the fall race there. Later this season before the Southern 500 as far as the Xfinity Series goes. He was not in any one of the races this weekend. But anyway, this is one of his best racetracks. 13 top 10s and 17 career starts again. Only his finish outside the top 10 once. Recent success is there and current success is there. That team's been fast all season. They didn't get the finish they deserved last week at Kansas. That's part of Hamlin overriding the race car. And again, similar to Kyle Larson, they've struggled with the same things this year where they've had chances to win a lot of races this year between both of them. Harvick and Hamlin last year could very well be Hamlin and Larson this year. The difference is they're not getting the job done at the end of the day. They're just being a little too aggressive late when they don't have to be. Let the car do its work, and you'll at least get a good finish. I know you want to go for the win, but you got to finish the races first. I know they're both in good positions to make the playoffs. Larson's already locked in with the win. Hamlin is the regular season champ by a lot right now, leading it, so he can certainly be locked in too. Almost certainly on points as well. So they're both looking good. Just get to the end of the race, and they're going to have a good chance to win as it is. They might even battle each other for the win. See what you guys are saying in the chat. Byron, question mark. Yeah, I mean, Byron's he doesn't have that great of a statistical career at Darlington. I don't have full predictions on him today. He did finish 5th in the Southern 500 last year, but outside of that, that's his only top 10 since 2018, obviously, when he was a rookie. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on Hendrick today outside of Larson, honestly. Not completely sold. I think they can have good runs, but Byron's top 10 streak might be on the line today. If he makes it through today, I expect him to run well on a road course next week at COTA. So, I mean, if he keeps it alive today, I think he'll keep it alive at COTA, but I don't think he'll... I don't know. I don't think he'll keep it alive. I'm not going to settle myself on that prediction necessarily because, I do so many predictions leading up to the race. I mean, we got predictions for 8 drivers. If I just keep adding like every driver that's showing up in the chat too, I'm not going to be able to keep track of everything. The odds of me predicting all those would be less and less and less. But Reddick. I'm not having Reddick in my lineup today, but I think he can have a good day like Austin Dillon. I'm just more higher on Austin Dillon, the RCR train once again. But again, appreciate you guys down in the comment section. Want to know why I love your NASCAR content? Sure, Oni. Is it because I'm unbiased? I would hope it's that. I hope it's that, and I hope it's because my commentating abilities. If it's that, then you're in the right place. Do not start Brad because his crew chief is out. That's possible. I'm not completely sold on Jerry Bullins. He makes a lot of like strategy calls, and they're really 50-50. Like Richmond, it was a terrible call. I mean, the way his strategy calls have been, and then Kansas was a brilliant call. You know, that's just kind of the crew chief Jeremy Bullins is, and I feel like that's why he didn't work well with Ryan Blaney as well as he could have, because Blaney is one of those drivers that, you know, he's consistent, but he doesn't win as much as Keselowski. I feel like this pairing works better with Brad, because Brad is automatically going to win a couple races a year anyway. You would have to assume he's already won one this year as well. So pairing him with that, maybe it could move Keselowski from a 3 or 4 win guy to maybe a 5 or 6 win guy that could strike, you know, better. But he's not going to have as many top 10s as what he would have with a guy like Paul Wolf, in my opinion, as far as the crew chief pairing goes. And I think Blaney's consistency has shown better with Todd Gordon because he's simply got a better crew chief. And I think the handling of the race cars has been better. Obviously, he worked well with Logano. He won a championship with Logano, so it's a championship caliber crew chief. So I do think that's why a lot of those pairings worked last season. The reason why we saw Brad in the championship 4 was his, you know, wins. I mean, he barely, 1 point on a 3-way tie there? 1 point he got into the championship 4 at the end of Martinsville. If he would have had 3 wins on the year instead of 4, he wouldn't have made it. So, yeah, definitely think that that is a big factor of that, where he's going to win more races with them. He won 4 last year. We'll see. Hard to hold emotions while playing. Yeah, for sure. You definitely got to call it down the middle. That's why I'm unbiased with everything, though. I've always been unbiased with a lot of things. All right, we got to wrap this up here in 5 minutes. So we have one more driver to talk about. This is a driver that, again, you should have in your lineup today, much like Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. That would be Kevin Harvick. Yes, Kevin Harvick will be in my lineup today, and he should be in your guys' fantasy lineups as well. Let me pull up the stats real quick. Okay, Kevin Harvick has 10 straight top 10s at Darlington. He's got 3 wins in that stretch of races as well. Of course, he won the Southern 500 last season. He also won the first race at Darlington of the 3 races they had last year. So he won the day race. That's very important too. So 2 wins both last season at Darlington, 3 in the last 10 races, and 10 straight top 10s. He's got 5 straight top 5s as well at Darlington. To go along with that. So 5 straight top 5s and 10 straight top 10s at Darlington. Expect him to compete for the win again today. He's coming off a second place finish last week at Kansas, so I think that'll be a good run too. And again, very high on Kevin Harvick for today's race. So now my race win pick. I am 0 for 11? We've had 11 races this year. I'm 0 for 11 so far this season. At some point, I'm going to predict at least a couple races, right? You know, if I just keep on this consistency. And the guys I've predicted to win, they've either had a great chance to win or they finish good. You know, very rarely they just don't run well. So I've been close. I just haven't actually sealed the deal yet. And I sealed the deal 9 times last year, so it's a little frustrating. Don't get me wrong. Trevor Grimes, welcome to the stream. So let's see. Let's see. This week, I have another new winner. I think NASCAR gets its 11th different winner of the season in 12 races. I've got Kevin Harvick going to victory lane today at Darlington. I think his competitors will be Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. I can see all 3 of them battling it out for the win. But Harvick, the closer, I mean, it's in his nickname. The 2 guys that have probably choked the most wins away this year are going to be battling him. And the experience, the competitiveness that Harvick has when the chip's on his shoulder versus Hamlin and Larson's has statistically been a lot better. So if it does come down to a late race restart, I have my faith in Harvick. I don't think it will come down to a late race restart, and I think he'll just be in the top 5 all day. He's got the best starting position of those 3 drivers as well. Larson's actually starting mid-pack. Hamlin's starting in the top 5 as well, but Harvick will be on the front row today. I got Kevin Harvick winning today's race. It was very tough for me to decide between Harvick, Hamlin, or Larson, but honestly, just because of what recent history has shown with Hamlin and Harvick this season, that they just can't get the job done when it's in a close race. I think it's going to be a close battle between those 3 all day long. It'll be fun to watch, and I think Harvick is my guy to go into victory lane. He's also only 8-1 odds, so his odds of winning are less as well if you're a betting man with comparison to Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. So As far as the betting side of things, as far as what I actually think will happen, I think Kevin Harvick is going to go to victory lane here today. I predicted him to win the first Darlington race back from COVID last year. That was the first win prediction I had right second, my bad. I forgot I predicted Hamlin to win the 500 last year too. So, okay, he was my second one. But first one back from COVID, so I really do think that he's going to have a great day today. So that's going to wrap it up. Harvick's going to need back surgery with all this carrying he does at SHR. Indeed. Keegan, are you streaming the race? No, not streaming the race today. I'll be going to my grandparents here in a couple minutes as soon as I click end on stream. So I'll be watching the race at their house this afternoon for Mother's Day. Voice crack there on that one. Starting to lose my voice almost. So we'll be back NASCAR 05 later tonight on the channel. We'll be racing Cup Series at Atlanta. No official start time. It's just going to be whenever the Cup race gets done and I get home after the race. So probably planning anywhere between 7 to 8 o'clock is what we're looking at. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. NASCAR Fantasy Podcast returns tomorrow where we'll break down everything that happened in today's Cup race tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe if my sister has a softball game, which she might, the stream will be at 4. So that is what we're looking at. We're setting it at 5. It will be at 4 if we end up having to move it ahead so I can get it in. So if you can't watch live, that's okay. It'll be up all week. We'll have a full week until the next race at Dover. Thanks, everybody. Have a great enjoyment of the race later today, and I'll see you guys tonight.